Was a police officer in the city of St. Louis. No one ever accused Gorn of racism. He was black. He's dead now. He was murdered last night by the mob. His killing was streamed live on Facebook. And then the violence accelerated from there. In St. Louis alone, 4 other active duty police officers were shot last night. In Las Vegas, an officer took a bullet in the head. He's still in critical condition. Once the sun went down, cops all around this country found themselves under attack. Did you watch? In the city of Seattle, Councilwoman Tammy Morales all but endorsed the destruction of her own city.
What I don't want to hear is for our constituents to be told to be civil, not to be reactionary, to be told that looting doesn't solve anything. And, it does make me wonder and ask the question why looting bothers people so much more than knowing that across the country, Black men and women are dying every day, and far too often at the hands of those who are sworn to protect and serve.
And looting underway as, quote, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yes, America is burning, but that's how forests grow. That's a verbatim quote from the chief law enforcement officer of Massachusetts. Maura Healey.
When an agent of the state kneels on a man's neck until all of the life is leached out of his body, destroying property which can be replaced is not violence. And to put those things, to use the exact same language to describe those two things, I think really it's not moral.
From over the weekend.
It's so remarkable to see military-style vehicles rolling through the White House complex. It's just not something that you normally see in the United States of America. It's something that you see in more authoritarian countries.
Open your eyes, America. Open your eyes. We are teetering on a dictatorship. This is chaos. Has the president, I'm listening, is the president declaring war on Americans? I hope that they stand up and fight for their rights. Now the entire country, according to his orders, we are living under a militarized country. Is playing a very dangerous game because this will backfire.
Much of the rioting is being committed in their name. Go to their website if you haven't met. Here's a post from 3 days ago. Quote, defund the police. That's the position of Black Lives Matter, the most popular group in America among corporate leaders. Defund the police. No more cops. That's what they're fighting for. That seems like a fringe position, but in the Democratic Party, it isn't anymore. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib has endorsed it as a sitting member. So has Jane Fonda, so have many other celebrities. They said so in a recent open letter. Then 3 days ago, the New York Times published a piece making the same demand. Quote, no more money for the police. No police? That's right. The article calls for the elimination of all cops and all prisons in the United States. So if we did that, who would keep order? Well, the New York Times has an answer to that. Quote, rapid response social workers would keep the peace. And quote, alternative emergency response programs. That's their plan. If you live in a gated community, it might sound like a good idea. You've got your own police force. You have no plans to replace them with rapid response social workers, so you're set no matter what happens. There aren't going to be any rapes on your street. But what about everyone else? What's going to happen to them? Don Lemon and Rashida Tlaib don't care at all. Your neighborhood is not their problem. They're in it for the revolution. And make no mistake, it's a revolution from above, aimed downward. This is the only revolution in history that's being waged not on behalf of the working class, but against them. Brett Hume is Fox's senior political
entry, the mysterious appearance. Get this, pile of bricks literally being stationed near the sites where these protests and riots ultimately become. They're staging it. Joining us now to report on that disturbing story. He's in our West Coast Bureau tonight. Our chief breaking news correspondent, Trace Gallagher. So they're literally staging weapons that they're going to use that evening to throw the bricks at the cops, Trace? Is that how we interpret that? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's the belief, Sean. I mean, you have these piles of bricks and rocks showing up, as you said, near the various protest sites in cities like New York, Kansas City, Dallas, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and none of the sites are near construction areas, leading many to assume the bricks were planted by outside agitators specifically to stir up trouble. In fact, the New York Police Department says it has evidence that anarchist groups were pushing the protest toward violence and vandalism. Federal law enforcement officials say the violence points to far-left groups like Antifa. Others say far-right groups might also be involved. And many of the looters don't need to be supplied with bricks and rocks because they show up with their own tools in hand, well prepared to destroy property. Police in Minneapolis also found caches of stolen vehicles and incendiary devices in areas where numerous fires have broken out. And in Baltimore, there's evidence of double danger. Police have been sweeping the downtown area after, get this, finding both bricks and bottles with potential accelerants already inside them. But instead of being left out in the open piles, these potential weapons are kind of being hidden in small areas, though it's unclear if they are associated with